Hello, I'm Nick Mann. I'm the editor of The Quarry, and today I'm going to be talking you through our latest heritage walkthrough of Sainte Apolline's Chapel. Absolutely fascinating site, and one I'm so pleased to have got to spend time researching and getting to understand a lot more. I've lived on this island for 46 years, and I've driven past it, walked past it, maybe popped my head inside it, but I really didn't appreciate quite how important it was and quite what's on display once you start really diving into the detail of it. Just going to start off here, and I think we said earlier, just head on over to our website and click on the link to really go through this tour yourself and play with all the information that I've been able to add to it. So what have I learned about being down at Sainte Apolline? So it's a chapel that was founded in the 14th century by Nicholas Henry, who owned a manor house that stood nearby. It's no longer there, although we think the site just across the road is where it was. What I found really interesting about Sainte Apolline's was what it's telling us about religion, the role of Mont Saint Michel in the life of the island at the time, one of the big landowners back in the medieval period, but also how that interacted with the role of the crown as well. So you can see that in some of the founding documents, which still survive, which is one of the sort of important bits about Sainte Apolline, is that there is documentary evidence for 600 years basically of life in Guernsey and how it was evolving, and how religion was strong. And then obviously at the time that this little chapel was founded, you can if you click around you can find some old pictures of the site. I'll come back to this. This is late 19th century, but it's also maps tell us a lot about how the islands developed, obviously, and this is Duke of Richmond map 1787, where you can see Sainte Apolline's and the field system that was around St Saviour's at the time, around Perel, and we see much more built up today. Just quickly show you around the garden as well. This is March, but just imagine how beautiful this is in the summer when the sun's shining. I spent a bit of time sitting on this bench when my colleague was putting this together. Gives you a fascinating, lovely view, and the sunshine there. So let's dive around the outside of the building, I think, a little bit first. There's a real gem inside, but we'll come to that as a bit of a reveal at the end. Like I say, if you can click on all these little bits of information so you can find out what's there. A coin stone. Apologies for my pronunciation. It's not really my... a lot of these terminologies is new to me. As you can see, here's Sainte Apolline House, which is thought to have been where the old manor house would have been. You can jump across the road to take another different look at the outside of Sainte Apolline's. This road has been built up over time from when the chapel was built as well, so this is actually slightly higher now than it was. So I wanted to come out here because obviously you start spending time at these sites and you start noticing all sorts of detail, but it's partly geology that was really interesting. Like these rocks or stone, like bits of granite that the chapel was built out of. So we've got coming from Bordeaux down north of the island, Perel, just where the site actually is, pink Cobo granite down the west coast, heading a little bit further north, some Icar, Nice, and then from the Chorsey Island just off of Jersey. So this granite was chosen because it's easier, so I'm told it's easier to shape into what we can see here. You'd never notice this if it wasn't pointed out to you. I don't think I certainly wouldn't have done. But you can just see evidence here from when they did some archaeological investigations to find out more about the site in 2003 when they were looking at a management plan. So you can see inside there, that's the base of the foundations, but that little square there just gives away that there was some work that had been done. Also, side of the building, these little areas now infilled were where wooden scaffolding poles would have come through when they were building the chapel, the putlug hole. Again, another new term for me. Said we'd dive inside, which is, well, yeah, hang on, just before we do that, buildings obviously change over time, and Sainte Apolline's is no exception. It's easy to think that they're all original, isn't it? But if we look up here, this bellcote was reconstructed in the 1970s, and the same goes for the roof, and there's some debate about the material being used here and what material should or shouldn't be used. I'll let the specialists talk that one through. So head on through the door. I said this interior is very different to what would have been inside. Obviously, again, more evidence of the 1970s restoration with some York stone on the flooring. Head on over, have a look at the altar as well. Again, another part of the 1970s sanctuary made from Purbeck stone. Just wanted to have a look at some of the stained glass windows as well. These again are part of the 1970s restoration. You can see a depiction of a lily, which is a traditional symbol associated with the Virgin Mary, and over here Sainte Apolline, one of only 4 religious sites in the Western Hemisphere devoted to Sainte Apolline, and the patron saint of dentists. The others are in Rouen, Rome, and Ribe. And this is really so important in the island, and it's the medieval wall paintings. You can only find them here and at Catel Church. This is a scene of the Last Supper, and again it's got some unique touches. Just highlight here is St. Paul, who is not normally pictured in the Last Supper, so it wasn't there. And again on the side here, you should be able to zoom in, is Judas, who's there we go. It's depicted in profile and no one's engaging. Again, that's another sort of unique touch and an indication of who was painting this and when as well. So again, find out more about that within the more detailed descriptions. You can see some scrolling plant at the top here, which they felt might have gone all the way around the roof space. And I'll just bring you along to the second wall painting that we can see just up here. Incredible things to have discovered at the time. Again, slightly separated from that first one, and believed to represent Christ washing the feet of the apostles. Another closer look there. So yeah, incredible interior. And we're actually very lucky to still have this 600-year-old chapel. Many of them got knocked down as religious beliefs changed, and this is actually the only religious site in state's ownership as well. And it's one that's obviously had its religious times, but for hundreds of years it was was an agricultural site. It was a barn used for storage and for animals, and one of the reasons it came, or the key reason why it came into state's ownership, was because of the state of disrepair that it was in. So incredibly important site. Hopefully we can zoom in here and you can see the condition of the chapel and back in the late 19th century. Head on over to the site, have a proper look around. Much more detail to be discovered. There's a really good background report by Wessex Archaeology, which a lot of this information was based on, and there's links to that on our site as well. So that's a really brief look at Sainte Apollines, and all I can do is really encourage you to get down onto the site. Maybe take a phone with you so you can like walk around and see all these information points that we've added to the virtual tour. You can find it, as I said, on our website, www.thequarry.media. Please do sign up to our mailing list, and please do consider becoming a supporter as well, and paid subscriber.